Hi, I'm Anne Marie from Teacher to Teacher Help. In this video, I'd like to share with you a tool that you can use to teach your students how to add details to their narrative writing. I wish I had $1 for every time I have said to students, you need to add details. You need details in your writing. When I used to say that, my students would often look at me with these blank stares. They didn't really know what I meant by that. It wasn't until years later that I learned I was telling my students, not actually teaching them strategies for adding details. I now know that there are 4 main ways that narrative writers add details to their narrative writing. One is to include characters' thoughts and feelings. Another is to include characters' dialogue, or what characters are saying. A third is action, or what characters are doing. And a fourth is to add description, describing the characters or describing the setting. So 4 main strategies that writers use to add details to their writing. Let me show you how I tab up a mentor text to have that prepared in my writing toolkit so that when I'm conferring with students, I no longer have to say, you need to add details, but I can say, let me show you the kinds of details that writers add to their writing. So here's one of the books, one of the picture books that's in my writing toolkit. It's The Memory String by Eve Bunting. And just like any other mentor text that you use as a tool, there's nothing special about this book. It's just a book that I love, that I have read to my students. So I encourage you to find books that you love and that your students love, and then use those as tools. The key to using a mentor text in a writing conference is that you've already read the book aloud to the class and they've enjoyed it as readers first. And then you can go back and revisit it in a writing conference for a specific skill. So what I have done with this book is added some tabs to the side. It's not enough just to have the book and know that it contains examples of those skills, but if you want your conferences to run smoothly and efficiently, you want to prepare ahead of time. So let me show you just a few of the tabs that I have here in this book. I have tabbed it up for some of those different kinds of details. Like here are a couple where the characters are showing action. Here's another one where the author elaborated by showing characters' feelings. Here's some elaboration with description, describing characters, describing setting. So what I do is just read through a book and I find examples of those 4 kinds of details. And then I put a tab on that page, I mark it, and then I go a little bit further and I actually add another tab on the inside showing exactly where I found that example, so that in the moment of a conference, I can quickly turn to it. So the tab on this page is elaborating with characters' feelings. And you'll see I've tabbed this up here that the character felt mean and horrible. So there's some of that internal thinking here. So now in the moment of a conference, if I want to teach students how to add internal thinking, I can say, well, let's see how Eve Bunting does this. Let's take a look. And then is there a place in your writing that you could add some internal thinking of your characters and to find a place that you can do what Eve Bunting did? So do you see how I'm teaching the writer and not just fixing up this piece of writing? We're looking at the tool that I have to see how another writer did it. And then I'm inviting students to transfer that into their own writing. So let's take a look at a couple of others here. So I have another one here that says action. And on the action page, I've even marked the different actions. Now, here's something kind of neat about these skills and strategies. If the skill is adding details and the strategies are characters' thoughts and feelings and dialogue and action and description, do you know each of those strategies can become a skill on its own? So adding action, if a student doesn't know how to add action, you might need to break action down. So in this case, I broke action down into what is the character's face doing? What are the character's hands doing? What are the character's feet doing? Or how is the body moving from place to place? And I've marked here, you'll see it works even with animals. So whiskers leapt, that's an action. what the feet are doing. Whiskers, claws caught on the string, so what the character's hands are doing. And then Laura covered her eyes with her hands. So that shows what her face is doing and what her hands are doing. So I already have that marked that I can show students how to add action, and specifically breaking that action down into faces, hands, and feet, and inviting them to try it. Again, here's another one. This is action with the face and the feet. And I have those marked so that in the conference, I can quickly zoom right to that spot and demonstrate for students. So another great tool to keep in your writing toolkit, a mentor text that's tabbed for the 4 kinds of details for narrative writing.